Okay, we're learning the Maimer Yehuda Ata, and we're going over to Ois Hey. And this Ois is going to be super important. You know why? The whole Maimer until now was telling you that to be like Yehuda, which means someone who genuinely feels appreciation of Hashem and everything He's always giving us, first you have to be like Reuven. And what does Reuven do? He is like Re'iyah. He has such clarity. He's seeing Hashem in his life, and therefore he comes to love Hashem. Then you have to be like Shimon, that he's like Shemiah. He is like hearing. He doesn't have such clarity, but he has understanding of Hashem, and therefore, because he feels far from Hashem, he feels fear. And then you have to be like Levi. What does Levi do? He does the connection, right? He's like the glue. He does the connection. He gets Hashem to walk hand in hand with you. You're like hand in hand. And then you can be like Yehuda. So, I have a problem. I have a question for you guys. Stump the Rabbi. You ready for this? In the first Ois of the Maimer, we said that every Jew is like Yehuda. Every Jew, we said, Yehuda is the thanks, the acknowledgement in every Jewish soul. Every Jew is like Yehuda. They want to thank Hashem. Then we spend the rest of the Maimer explaining, no. First, you have to be a superstar chassid, you have to have love of Hashem, and you have to have fear of Hashem, and you have to learn Torah. You have to do everything, and once you checked all the boxes, then you can reach Yehuda level. So which one is it? Is it something everyone has automatically? Or is it something that you have to be a superstar? Yeah.
It's like the secret night last night and Felix is half hour and it says there's two instances. One is like a kid and one is like an adult. The kid where Hashem has a lot of fear and that's him. Then it says, but Hashem loves you, but Hashem so much and he doesn't like when you serve him with reasoning. Why does he make you eventually go up and serve Hashem with reasoning? He said because if you use that reasoning, then you use the bittul to serve Hashem with reasoning.
Beautiful. I love that. So we're going to do something along those lines. Menachem, what do you think? See what I did there? What do you think? Does every Jew have thanks to Hashem? Or is it only once you're a superstar chassid? Do you have to be like the MVP chassid to do that? Yeah, you do? But what about what we said that every Jew has thanks to Hashem deep down? Well, cancelled. Okay, what do you say? Don't know. Okay, good thing is that in Ois Hey, the Rebbe is going to tell us $1 million answer. You ready? Behold, this, the level of Yehuda, Tzarech Lak Thomas. First, you have to have before that. Reuben, Shimon, Levi. First, you have to have Reuben, Shimon, and Levi. Hainu, that is, in order that your acknowledgement of Hashem, Yehuda, of being like Yehuda, Tia Begilui, in order that will be revealed. Oh, magic word, Begilui. To have a revealed Yehuda, to be someone who's walking around every day, genuinely feeling your appreciation of Hashem. Whoa, that was scary. To be someone who's walking around every day, genuinely feeling your appreciation of Hashem, for that you have to first have Reuben, Shimon, and Levi, and then you can be like Yehuda. But to be hidden, and deep down, this acknowledgement of Hashem is constant. So deep down, every single Yid is genuinely appreciative of Hashem and is constantly wants to thank Hashem. Just in order to get it out and to really feel that in your life, first you have to have love of Hashem and fear of Hashem and learn Torah, and then you can get that to the everyday. Okay, we got that. Pretty simple answer. Deep down, we've all got it. But to bring it out, first we have to really work on ourselves. Now, the Rebbe is going to say something interesting about the fact that every Jew is always wants to thank Hashem. But before we like to explain the Torah, remember this whole Maimer is based off the Alter Rebbe's Maimer Torah. Yud of Yehuda, it shows on the fact that it's constant and current. So, you look at Yehuda, we're talking about the Hodah, the thanks. So you look at Yehuda, Hey Vav Daled Hey is Hodah, thanks. What's the Yud doing in front? The Yud shows that it's constant. How does the Yud show that something's constant? So, the way it is, we're going to have to look into a possible. We're going to look into Sefer Eov, the book of Job. I don't know why Eov was called Job, especially because he was a very rich man. So I don't think he had a job. I think he had lots of people working for him. But either way, Eov in English is called Job. So it says over there, right in the beginning of Sefer Eov, that it's going to be in Perik Aleph, Pasuk Hey. Right at the beginning. You guys ever read Sefer Eov? I once knew a bacher who would sit down and read Sefer Eov to make himself feel sad. Now, I'm not sure what the purpose of that is, but anyways. So, do you read Sefer Eov sometimes? So, if you ever opened a Sefer Eov and you didn't get very far, you probably at least got through the first parak. It's a very long Sefer. And the first parak is basically describing how rich and powerful Eob was. He was super wealthy. And it talks all about how he had the best life. He had all these kids, and every day of the week he'd invite over, he'd have a party in honor of a different one of his kids, and he'd bring all these, he'd have a massive barbecue, and he gives a whole description about all these parties he was constantly making because he was super rich, had tons of kids, and was living it up and had a great life. Yeah? So over there, after describing all the parties he'd do, he had a party scheduled. The first day of the week or whatever, he'd party for this kid. Then the next day was a party for that kid, and had a barbecue for each kid every day.
So no spoiling.
And then it says, very spoiled, I guess.
No, I mean like no choosing one over the other.
I'm saying that they weren't, there's no favoritism.
Yeah.
They all get their parties. Then it says, after describing party schedule, it says, Kocha Yasa Eob Kol HaYomim. Thus Eob would do all the days. So Rashi explains, if you'd say Osa Eob, it would mean that's what Eob did. If it says Yasa with the extra Yud, the Yud means this is what he would constantly do. He kept on doing. It's like Osa is when you play your playlist on Spotify. Yasa is when you put it on repeat. It's just constantly going. So Chassidus quotes this a lot because sometimes Chassidus finds a word with the extra Yud over there, and it's like, hey, if you learn Rashi, what this means over here is that it's constant. So let's say Yehuda, for example, he's Hoida with a Yud. You know what that means? That means constant Hoida. A Yid who's like Yehuda is constantly thanking Hashem. So we're all constantly in a state of wanting to thank Hashem. Just some of us it's more hidden, some of us it's more revealed. So by Menachem it's more revealed. By Menachem it's also more revealed. By me it's more hidden. So the Hainu meaning, what does this mean that it's constant? That this thanks to Hashem from every single Jew. It's constantly. Every Jew constantly wants to thank Hashem. Also, every Jewish minivan wants to constantly thank Hashem. That's why that's a bumper sticker on the back that says "Thank you Hashem." I was driving behind the car the other day and I had a "Thank you Hashem" sticker on the back. I'm like, perfect. Every Jew wants to constantly be thanking and acknowledging Hashem. So. This, it says, this time I'll thank Hashem. You guys know the song? Hashem, you know the song? It's a good song. I like the song. Exactly like that. See? Musical talent right here.
Thank you, Hashem.
That's right. What does it say this time? So here's a problem.
Thank you, Hashem.
I have a problem with the Thank You Hashem song. You ready for the problem from the Rebbe's Maimer for the song? It goes like this. Thank you, Hashem, is supposed to be always, at all times, right? So the bumper stickers are on all times. And we just learned on Maimer that all Jews always want to thank Hashem. But then you know what it says in the song? It says in the Pasuk? It's a question of the Pasuk much more than the song. But anyways, let's talk about the song. It says, Hapam oides havaya. What did Leah say when she gave birth to Yehuda? She said, this time I'm going to thank Hashem. Yeah, as opposed to the first 3 kids, she didn't thank Hashem because she thought, hey, I deserve 3 kids. Because there's 4 mothers and 12 shvatim. So everyone deserves to have 3 kids, yeah, if I'm mathematically right. But this time I had a 4th kid, I had a bonus. This time I'll thank Hashem. Now let me ask you, if the whole idea of Yehuda is Hoida with a Yud, it's that every Jew is constantly thanking Hashem. Why are you saying this time I'll thank Hashem as opposed to all other times? Suddenly it sounds like you're a person, Yehuda is not about constantly thanking Hashem. It sounds like Yehuda is only about thanking Hashem sometimes. Let me ask you about the Thank You Hashem song. It says, Hapam oides Hashem. This time I'll thank Hashem. But the whole idea of thank you Hashem is supposed to be that we're always thanking Hashem.
They say also Hoidu Hashem.
They definitely do.
Yeah, Hoidu Hashem.
So here's the thing. You ready for this? Why? The Rebbe is going to explain to us why it's Hapam oides Hashem. That only sometimes. Are we always thanking Hashem or are we sometimes thanking Hashem? The answer is both. You ready for this? How it's both? Because Shaloi Kol Eitim Shabbos. Not all times are equal. That's a borrowed line from Tanya, where he speaks about that emotionally, sometimes you feel inspired, sometimes you don't feel inspired. That Hurak Benegea La Gilui. The fact that you sometimes feel like thanking Hashem is regards to how revealed this is. Whether you really feel your thanks to Hashem in a revealed way. Mitzad. Wow, her opinion court just walked in. Mitzad Helen Behester Aguf Nefesh Bahamas. Because of the hidden, you know what's hiding? You're thanking Hashem. Your neshama is dying to thank Hashem every day. But because it's hidden and covered over by the body and by the Nefesh Bahamas, Mitzad Helen Behester Golos, and how much more so? Specifically, you know what the main issue is? the neshama is kind of covered over because we have some golus, and in golus, people are busy running around trying to make money, and it's not like the time of the Beis Hamikdash where everyone was like standing in the Beis Hamikdash. Imagine if you were in the times of the Beis Hamikdash. 3 times a year, you go to the Beis Hamikdash. You'd see the 10 miracles that happen every day. You'd be like, wow, Hashem, incredible, inspiration. You'd just be on a high constantly. Every couple of months, you just see Hashem's miracles. Nowadays, we're in Golos, we kind of forget about the whole story. So because of all this, sometimes we feel like thanking Hashem, and sometimes it's hidden deep down. But don't think it's gone. Thanking Hashem is constant. But the godly soul that every Jew has, Shema Husayat Ha'amiti, the Rebbe says something very important here. That's your real identity. Everything else is just layers covering it up. But deep down, every Jew really, what are you? You're the Nefesh Kiss. What is it want to do? It's constantly faithful to Hashem, and it's thanking Hashem. Who has like Tmidis? By Nefesh Kiss, that's constant. It's impossible to change Chas v'Shalom. Nefesh Kiss constantly loves Hashem, constantly wants to thank Hashem. And that's not changing. The question is, how much does Nefesh Kiss manage to express itself in your life? Some people more, some people less, but the fact is every Jew wants to thank Hashem. But how are we going to get there? So yeah, Menachem, our problem is that if every Jew wants to thank Hashem, we answered that question. We figured out that question from the asked at the beginning of this year, yeah? So every Jew wants to thank Hashem deep down. But to really be revealed, that's going to take a lot of work. What work is it going to take back? The intro to this is by acting like Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. And what does that cause? That's Avos Hashem, Yiras Hashem, Torah. And that is that's to bring up this thanks of Hashem from the depths of your heart. That it should be revealed until the point that its effect should come out from potential to actually being part of your life. Mamish, literally being part of your life. How do you see thanking Hashem in your life instead of just deep down? When you're thinking about it, when you're speaking about it, when you're acting on it. When you see someone walking down the street and they say, Baruch Hashem, I'm so happy. You know, I was driving with someone yesterday and they found a parking space right in front of my house. They're like, wow, Hashem is so good to us. Now, in New York, that's actually probably a bigger miracle than Kriyas Yamsuf. But the fact is, some people, everything they see in their life, they're like, wow, thank you Hashem for that. Baruch Hashem. Some people are just living with this every day. Some people, deep down, they know everything's from Hashem. But it doesn't find expression. Some people, they don't act on it, they don't speak about it. Some people don't even think about it. So all we have to do is work on how much we love Hashem, how much we fear Hashem, how much Torah we learn, and then automatically we'll start to feel more expression of thanks and acknowledgement to Hashem for His miracles, such as finding parking in Brooklyn. But if you don't live in Brooklyn, you won't get it, but you guys get it. Yeah, you know what's up.
Doing well.
You ever had to move your car and
Or the $9 toll system.
yeah, now there's more tolls. Exactly. More tolls. You better believe it.
You know,
Stop it.
guess
It's
what?
funny.
Because
Yeah.
They say that the MTA says that there's written the same week last year, 45% less cars on the streets now. Crazy.
But so I don't think anyone's gonna believe I'm sure. You have 3 Menachems in the shir.
It sounds so fake.
That is really camera. Like,
So Menachem, what'd you say? Oh, Menachem what? Yeah, oh,
It's just
fantastic.
it's like, dude, you couldn't think of any better names than Menachem? It's like, no, the shit that I only call people Menachem, no matter what their name is.
Oh.
So I wanted to name my daughter Chaya Mushka. The only name.
Is she back in last
trying to marry the
She's
Chaim
back?
Mishka.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Things are doing good. Couldn't sleep last night, but things are doing good.
Same there.
That's why I came early. Because I didn't want to sleep.
She's out of the house.
Part of the package deal. Okay, something important Menachem was asking before, something very important about Chochmah bin and Das. So here's the thing. We explained in this mimer 2 things about each of Reuben, Shimon, and Levi. As opposed to Yehuda, we explained 1 thing. You're ever wondering why? We were like, Reuben is Re'iyah, seeing. His knowledge of Hashem is like such clarity, it's like seeing. And that leads to Av. What's Re'iyah? Re'iyah is the level of Chochmah. Chochmah is when you have clarity in something. You don't have all the details. You don't know exactly the nitty-gritty. It's like seeing a picture. Seeing is you see a picture. Chokhmah, you have a flash of inspiration. Chokhmah is a light bulb moment. It's so clear. And therefore, it leads you to Ava. So, for example, if you have a brilliant idea one day, you get all happy. One day, wow, I figured out how I'm going to beat the parking crisis in Brooklyn. It's such a brilliant idea. You're so happy because you have this idea. You have clarity, but you don't have the nitty-gritty details. It's just like you see a picture. You know, like they say, a picture explains 1,000 words. That's true, but you don't get as much detail as 1,000 words. You have more clarity, but you don't have all the details. That's Chokhmah leads to Chesed and Ava. That's on the right side. That's the right cup. Like it says in Pasuk Yo, that the right hand is Chesed, and the left hand is what? It's glory, exactly. So that's going to be Shimon. Shimon's about Shmiya. Shmiya, hearing, is like Bina. Bina is figuring out all the details. Just like hearing from someone, you don't have exactly clarity, but when someone's describing something to you, you're trying to get the nitty-gritty, you're trying to figure out the details, you're trying to figure out every little bit. And when you're getting down and dirty, figuring out every little bit, you know, you're designing your parking space with the architect and getting every little bit, now you're in a serious mode. So that leads to Yira. Like when you're thinking about Hashem with Bina, which is Shmiya, now that leads you to Yira. As Mr. Levi is connection. And which one is connection? You guys know this. What's connection? Chokhmah, Bina? It's Das. That's right. Das is connection. Like it says in the Pasuk about Adam Yehuda Ata Yoducha, it's used in the Pasuk of Das for connection. So, Levi is about connecting. That's what Das is. That's what the whole middle line is. It's connecting from the bottom to the top. Sometimes you have ideas, but they don't connect with your feelings. Or sometimes you have feelings, you're like someone like Reuben or Shimon, but it doesn't connect with your life. So then you need Torah, which is Levi. You need Das to connect it with your everyday life. And these all lead to Yehuda. Yehuda is Malchus. So as opposed to the other ones, which have a double thing, they're like Chokhmah that leads to Ava on the right side. Bina that leads to Gvura on the left side. You ever seen like a map of Kabbalah spheres? You'll see those are the right side, these are the left side. Levi is going to be the middle line. You know, like Das and Tiferes. By the way, Das and Tiferes are a little bit interchangeable. It's a little bit complex, so maybe we won't get into it right now, but Das and Tiferes sometimes switch off. And then the last one is Malchus. Yehuda is Malchus. So what the Rebbe was saying over here in this Maimer, that everyone has this Malchus, which is Bittul, which is like Malchus is like a servant. Malchus is like the rank and file soldier in the army who says, yes, sir. Get done what you need to get done. He's always thankful to Hashem. He knows he has nothing without Hashem. But once Malchus is filled up with all the brothers above it, once Malchus has the inspiration of everyone above it, he can get much further than anyone else can. He can accomplish much more than anyone else can because he can go back to its Shayir Shekesser. So that's a little bit of the Kabbalah background of the Inyanim we're discussing here. Now let's get into Vav. I think we can finish the Maimer today. You guys ready for Vav? Vav and Zayin is going to be the punchline of the Maimer. The meat and potatoes of the Maimer was Beis, Gimel, Daled, Hey. Vav and Zayin is going to be dessert. You ready? After having discussed how you have to have that, be like Reuben, be like Shimon, be like Levi, or to be like Yehuda, constantly thank Hashem. Now that you're constantly thanking Hashem, what does that lead to? Let's look at the next part of the pasuk. The Rebbe says, "Mamshach." Because of the pasuk continues, Yod Chabayir Fevecha. About Yehuda, your hand is on the nape of your enemies. You guys know what a nape is? A nape means the back of the neck. Yeah, I think it's the back of the neck. So what does that mean? It means you beat up your enemies. Shaydei Gilui Yodah. Don't do this at home. Shaydei Gilui Yodah, through feeling such thanks for Hashem, because Yehuda, that's being like Yehuda. What does it do? Nasi Yod Chabayir Fevecha. It makes your hand on the back of the neck of your enemies. Beruchnius, spiritually. Obviously, physically, you shouldn't be beating anyone up. Alright, we're going to see like one exception in a moment. So, spiritually, if you're like Yehuda and you're constantly thanking Hashem, then you're going to be beating up the enemy. Who's the spiritual enemy? The Yetzer Hara, the bad inclination, all the bad feelings and lusts and the desires. When someone feels like they're lost and confused in the world by themselves, it's so easy to fall and to be in pressure and stress and give in to all your lower desires. You want to go on a diet, but I really need I'm so stressed, I need a stress eat. You really want to concentrate on your davening, but I just don't have headspace for it right now. You know, I really want to spend more time learning Torah every day, but I'm going to do it sometime soon. I don't know, I'm stressed. But when you realize that everything's from Hashem and you're expressing your thanks to Hashem in your everyday life, it's a whole different story. Now, all of a sudden, you never, Yetzer Hara, all these bad lusts and desires, all these things, you're like, yeah, I don't care about that. I'm with Hashem. Hashem's helping me out of here. And then also, what else does it lead to? The Gam Begashmis, also physically. Why? How do we know it's physically? At the end of the day, a pasuk, you can explain a pasuk in a deeper way, but you can never cancel the basic explanation. So the basic explanation is that through the Yidden, all having real thanks to Hashem, then what? Then all the bad guys, all the terrorists are going to disappear. They're all going to get beaten. Yeah? We just have to have more thanks to Hashem. We have to realize Hashem's in our life more. And through that, Hashem will take care of all the bad guys. And also, what does it say after the pasuk of your hands on the back and neck of your enemy? It says Yehuda is a lion. Yeah, a lion cub. Also that the staff, the rod of the staff of kingship will never lead Yehuda. Now, what's the staff of kingship talking about? The Shlomo, the Rebbe says something very interesting. Perhaps you could say, it hints to the fact that when are we going to beat up the bad guys even before Mashiach comes? Interesting. Everyone who was learning this pasuk went and learned Rashi. And who's it talking about? What's the Shevet? Alright, we call him Shevet Yisrael. You learned it in the Parashas Balak. What did it say over there? That there's going to be a Shevet will come forth. It's going to be Mashiach. So Mashiach's going to come. First, we're going to believe in Hashem now, and then when Mashiach comes, we'll get rid of all the terrorists. The Rebbe is saying, no, it's going to happen even before Mashiach comes. Even before Mashiach, we're going to get rid of all the bad guys once we really appreciate Hashem. How do we know this? Because what it says that Yehuda is like a lion cub, and Yehuda, and that the staff of rulership is never going to leave Yehuda. It's talking about David and Shlomo. Shemizarim, that who descends from David and Shlomo? Melech Mashiach. It's going to be the King Mashiach. So all of them, what does it say about Mashiach? It says in what was in the Nevuah of Bilam. It says that a staff will come forth from the Jews. A staff like to rule with, like a scepter, like Achashverosh's scepter. So lahavdil from Achashverosh, you're going to have Melech Mashiach is going to have rulership, and even their grandparents, David and Shlomo, who are before Mashiach times, are going to have this rulership. So through us being like Yehuda, we're really going to have rulership over all the terrorists. We're going to get rid of all the bad guys before Mashiach comes. Now what's going to happen then when Mashiach comes? That my servant David will be a king over them. That Mashiach is going to be a king in Eretz Yisrael. All the Yidden are going to go to Eretz Yisrael. We're going to have world peace. All the bad guys are going to be going to disappear. David Abdi Nosei Olam, and David my servant will be a prince over them forever. Like we said in last week's Haftarah. Now, when the Rebbe said this Maimer, why did it matter what was last week's Haftarah? We should be talking about this week's Haftarah, right? The Rebbe explains that Shabbos, it says about Shabbos in the Zohar that from Shabbos is blessed all the days of the coming week. So that would be including the next Shabbos. So the Shabbos the Rebbe was saying this Maimer was still blessed from the past Shabbos, so it's influenced by the past Haftarah. So even before Mashiach comes and all the bad guys disappear, towards the end of the Golos, will have your hands on the back of your enemy's neck. That all the enemies of the Yidden. Why does it apply to all Yidden, not just like the Tzaddikim? Because all Yidden are called after Yehuda. Yeah, you're Yehudi. All Yidden are called after Yehuda. And therefore what? Therefore, it applies to all Yidden. What's going to happen to their enemies? All the terrorists all around the world. They're going to have fear and trepidation will fall upon them. You know what trepidation means? It's just another word for fear. Through what? Through a revelation of this thanks. This thanks for Hashem, this appreciation, acknowledgement of Hashem in every Jewish soul. Until the point that it comes practically into their thought, speech, and action. That when Jews as practically thinking, speaking, and acting upon the fact that they acknowledge and they're so thankful to Hashem, all the goyim of that want to hurt us, like the terrorists, are all going to disappear. Guys, I figured out the secret to world peace. I figured out how to make peace in the Middle East. Look at that. Every American president for the past 70 years was trying to figure out peace in the Middle East, and they all failed, and I figured it out. Fantastic. I learned the mimer. The Rebbe taught it to me. If the president would have learned the mimer, we would have gone a long way earlier. All you have to do is have all the Jews really express the fact that we're thankful and we acknowledge that everything's from Hashem. And then Hashem will take care of all the bad guys. And all the terrorists will just disappear. We can just have world peace. Fantastic. Incredible. Yeah, you should go tell Trump. Learn this mimer with him. It's a good idea. I don't know if he'll get the point, but maybe we should learn the mimer with every single yid, and then we won't need any presidents to help us out. They can focus on their own issues. Va'ad, until the point, Shabbat B'Poel, it comes practically, Machshav D'Ramaisa. So when you're thinking, speaking, and acting on it, that's the real deal. You have to be thinking about, wow, Hashem's helping me. You have to be speaking about it all the time. That's why the Baal Shem Tov, it was so important to him that Yiddish should say Baruch Hashem all the time. You know, the Baal Shem Tov went around, he would travel, and he would encourage simple Jews, instead of saying how your day's going, he's like, oh, okay, it's good. You say Baruch Hashem, it's good. You have to be constantly thanking Hashem with Maisa and acting on it. When someone realizes Hashem's helping him out, he acts completely different. Now the Rebbe is going to quote a very basic pasuk from one of the most geschmacky, enjoyable, fantastic parshas in the Torah. You guys ever read the first part of B'chol Koisai? When you get the Chittas, when you learn it, it's very, very enjoyable. What does it say right at the beginning of Parshas B'chol Koisai?
Only the beginning, not the middle. Only the beginning.
The beginning. When you go my ways, and you guard my mitzvahs, what will happen? What will be through this? True in Parshas B'chol Koisai. If you keep reading in Parshas B'chol Koisai, what happens when you learn Torah and do mitzvahs? Among all the brachas, your enemies, the bad guys, are going to fall before you. So all you have to do is go in Hashem's ways, and then Hashem will take care of all the bad guys. Beautiful. Now we figured out world peace. And now we're up to the last piece of the Maimer. Because Ois Vav was like before Mashiach. Yeah, it's like Dar Shishi. It's like before Mashiach. Ois Vav was how we're going to have world peace before Mashiach, through all of us really expressing our thanks to Hashem. All you have to do is say Baruch Hashem a bit more, and really mean it, and really live with it, and have all Yidden do that, and Hashem will take care of all the bad guys. Number 7 is going to be like Dar Shvi. This one is going to take, Ois Zayin is going to explain to us Mashiach. You ready for this? Yes, Leimar. So the Rebbe is going to add over here. Zeo, Gamakesha, there's also the connection to Yehuda Ata Yoducha, from the fact that Yehuda, your brothers acknowledge you, and your hand is on the back of the neck of the enemy, to the beginning of the parasha of, and Yaakov lived in Eretz Mitzrayim. Why is this whole verse of Yehuda Davki in the parasha of Yaakov? Now you could tell me whatever, we need to put it somewhere, but it's not happenstance. It's on purpose. Everything in Torah teaches a lesson, even which parasha it's in. So, what does this teach us? Even when Yidden are found in Golos, skip the brackets for 1 second. Mitzrayim. Even when Yidden are found in Golos Mitzrayim. Are we in Golos Mitzrayim nowadays? No, we left Mitzrayim ages ago. So, the Rebbe puts in the brackets. Even when Yidden are found in Golos, Shekola Golias, all the exiles, Hamalchios Nikos Al Shem Mitzrayim, that the kingship that the Yidden are subjugated under is called Mitzrayim. All Golias are called after Mitzrayim. Isn't that interesting? It's from a Medrash, that one, Bereshis Rabbah. So, maybe it's because Mitzrayim is like Mitzrayim Gvulim. It means we're very limited, and Mitzrayim is all about limitations and things holding you back. And we feel like whatever Golos we're in is holding us back from serving Hashem. So, all the Golos are called after Mitzrayim. So, are we in Golos now?
Yes.
That's correct. Last time I checked, maybe Mashiach came since I checked, but last time I checked, we're still in Golos. Even when we're in Mitzrayim, still we could be like Veichi. We could be living. How can you be living when you're in Mitzrayim in such a terrible place? You're in Golos. How can you be living it up? Through learning Torah, which is Torah's Chayim and Torah of life. Keeping the mitzvahs. So what does mitzvahs have to do with life? Aleim Ne'emar, that says about them, you should live through them. So through the Torah of life and the mitzvahs that you live through, now your whole Golos you can be living in it. It's very lebedik. It makes you enlivened. You can be alive. You don't have to worry about Golos. You say Golos here, Golos there, I don't care. It's a bit like a very interesting story that Pirush Chak Admar Zokan Shomer Lenechta Chak Admar Tzemach Tzedek. Like the Alter Rebbe once told his grandson Tzemach Tzedek, very interesting word. He said, "Al Pasuk Yechi Yaakov Eretz Mitzrayim." When it says that Yaakov lived in Eretz Mitzrayim, he's like, how can he be living it up over there? What do you mean he's living? You call that a living? Shaydei. So what he did was very interesting. Yaakov sent Yehuda before him. What does it say in the pasuk? To show the way to prepare for him in Goshen. In the land of Goshen, where they were moving to, which is like a state of Mitzrayim, Yehuda was sent in front to prepare the place. And what does Rashi explain? To prepare for him a yeshiva, yeah? So, through preparing a yeshiva, through having a connection to Torah, then even in a place like Mitzrayim, he can be living. Yaakov was living it up because he didn't care about his surroundings, because he was connected to Torah, he was connected to Hashem. All the surroundings for him, it doesn't make a difference. So when we're connected to Torah, no matter what bad situation the Yidden are in, when we're connected to Hashem, we can be living it up. And what's going to come through this? You ready for the ultimate? By days then, through this it causes Yehuda Ata Yoducha that Yehuda, your brother, acknowledge you. That what? Through having Yehuda, your brother, acknowledge you. It means having love for Hashem, fear of Hashem, learning Torah, and ultimately constantly feeling this thanks for Hashem. Then your hands have been back in the neck of your enemies. Like it says, a very interesting Maimer Azal from Bereishis Rabbah. That when you hear the voice of Yaakov in the house of learning, in the house of learning, in the house of prayer, any day of Sholtis, the hands of Esau cannot be ruled. So something very interesting. So when Yaakov came in to his father Yitzchak, and he wanted to get the brachos, and he starts speaking and he starts saying, Baruch Hashem, I managed to catch some food. Yeah? So Yitzchak, who was blind, started to get very suspicious. So he felt his arms, and it felt like Esau's hands. So he says, Hakoil, Koil, Yaakov, Esau, the voice of Yaakov, and the hands of Esau. So the two things don't go together. It doesn't go together. When you have the voice of Yaakov, you can't have the hands of Esau. When Yidden are having the voice of Yaakov, which is the voice of davening and the voice of learning, then the hands of Esau, the hands of all the bad guys, their arms and weapons, they're not going to have any effect whatsoever. As long as we're staying strong with our weapon, which is a spiritual weapon, which is learning Torah and doing mitzvahs, as long as we do that, we have the voice of Yaakov, the hands of Esau have absolutely no power. That's why Yitzchak was so shocked. He's like, you can't have the hands of Esau and the voice of Yaakov at the same time. If we wouldn't be so involved in the voice of Yaakov, it would be one thing. But as long as we have the voice of Yaakov, davening and learning, the hands of Esau can't do anything. So, the Rebbe says even more than this. You ready for leveling up? That these nations of the world themselves, the bad guys, what are they going to do? They're going to help out the Yidden. With all their physical needs. So they'll be able to happily learn Torah and keep mitzvahs without having to worry about anything. So instead of all these terrorists spending their time trying to hurt people, then when Mashiach comes, they're going to spend their time trying to help people. In the way of adding and going, adding in light, so just keep getting better and better every day. So this of the Yidden doing what Hashem wants, and then all the bad guys are going to drop their weapons, and instead they're going to help the Jews. They're going to be helpful people. Maybe they'll convert all their cars to terrorism. They'll make it into ambulances. Maybe they'll be helpful people, productive people, peaceful people. They're going to be helping Yidden instead of trying to attack them. Through this great of Yidden doing the right thing, push away all the darkness and goals, maybe it's good, and bring the redemption. Through our righteous Mashiach, may come speedily and redeem us and take us upright to our land, and maybe made a mamas speedily nowadays, literally. Wow,